here's the question. When do you know that the voice that is inside your head and swirling around your spirit is truly meant for you? Not anybody else. You. What becomes your responsibility when we are hearing a call, be it a whisper, be it just a feeling in your bones, maybe even a loud shout, or maybe you just start seeing the world differently and you're not quite sure why. Does it matter if you're the only one who hears that call? Does it matter? Does it help? Does it reinforce when someone hears the call meant for you as well? This is what we're going to talk about as we explore the Magnificat. I'm Lace Watkins, Chief Bottle Washer at the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity, here to talk to you this Christmas week about the Magnificat. I thought that it was going to be too late to talk about it because I've been fomenting this for weeks. In fact, the video that we did a few days ago, Make Room, was the precursor, the opening act, if you will, to what we're going to talk about today. And boy, howdy, are we going to talk about it? I have notes. If this is your first time with us, please like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. The Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity is dedicated, and I do mean dedicated, both to racial justice and to what we call applied relational ethics. How you move in the world to be the person that you say you want to be. If this is intriguing to you, if this is something that you might want to do, I invite you to check us out at Lace on Race Facebook page, laceonrace.com, laceonrace.com/groups, Instagram, Twitter, all of the platforms. There's always an entry point. We bring you in on race. We keep you here on relationships. And let's talk about the relationship this Christmas week with Elizabeth and Mary. In the high-tech world of Lace on Race, my notes are being held up by a Gatorade bottle. People think that the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity is a nirvana, a platonic ideal of what a center should be, and it is. I love every minute that I'm here. What I don't have is a stand. Note to self, 2022, get a stand for my paper notes. But we're going to make do. We're going to make do, just like Mary did, just like Elizabeth did. Let's talk about the basic story that I thought was too late to tell since we're so close to Christmas. But as it happens, it's not too late at all. Earlier in Luke, we're going to be going off of Luke. Earlier in Luke, Mary got word that something very special was happening only to her, not to be afraid. And I can imagine her using my fictive imagination. I can imagine her basically saying, She didn't quite know all the ins and outs. She didn't know the particulars. What she knew was that something was going to happen, that there was going to be some backlash and backwater because of it, but she was going to do it anyway. This is a huge deal. She takes a trip. She takes a trip to see her cousin Elizabeth, who also was with child, and Elizabeth sang a song, "Blessed are you among women." And Mary answered her with a song. Mary's Manifesto, the Magnificat. I want to talk so much about the various permutations, and we are going to. It's important that we remember the various permutations because a lot's going on. The first thing, though, before we get to Mary, I want to put the focus where sometimes it can get lost. I want to talk about Elizabeth for a moment. Elizabeth, also pregnant with a child, heralded the arrival of the scared teenage girl, the scared single mama. Blessed are you among women. I want you to take a real look and really consider the generosity of this statement. As you know, if you've been a pregnant woman or you've been around pregnant women, that a lot of times the pregnancy is all about them. And rightfully so, rightfully so. I do want to say, though, that there is something about Elizabeth, pregnant with her own child, who was able to fling her door open, fling her arms open, and reinforce and affirm and make real and concrete something that Mary had a nebulous idea of, but it solidified and came together after Elizabeth's words. I want you to imagine, you can use your fictive imagination, and we're going to be talking about the nativity behind the dumpster in 7-Eleven tomorrow or Christmas. But so we're going to go fancifully. Whatever you think of the Christmas story, and some might even call it the Christmas myth, that gives us a lot of wiggle room so that we can play around with this story. We can bring it home for ourselves. When did Mary know? And then, when did Mary know? She only knew with Elizabeth. And that's true for us for a lot of things. A lot of things. I know that I say, and it's true, that I have been in change work for over 35 years. That puts me in my early 20s. Here I am, almost 60. And I had been peripatetic. I had done faith-based work. I had done grassroots work. I had done electoral work. But it wasn't until I was in my early 30s, in the early mid-90s, when someone came up to me who later championed me as I went on to be on the board of Pacific Southwest Mennonite, and said, holding my face in their hands, "You have work to do. Do the work that makes you money and that pays your rent. But that is not the only work you have to do. You may not see it this year or the next, but it's there. Get ready. Get ready." That was so permission giving. I had known that I'm supposed to do something. I was supposed to, but I didn't know what. For this person to say, there is something for you to do that only you can do. Echoes of Elizabeth, echoes of Mordecai talking to Esther. There is something only you can do. God will do it without you. But hey, it's for you. You can't shirk it. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. So I find myself thinking about this, and I find myself thinking about the people who, if we were talking about a paramount movie of my life, you guys would have them definitely, as they say in the industry, below the title, secondary characters. Lace Watkins in My Life from Camden to North Encanto, co-starring, and all the people who have been instrumental in my life, for good or ill, are beneath the fold. There is a generosity, like with Elizabeth, there is a generosity in being willing to be the secondary character. The character that people, they may not even ever know your name. You always think of at someone at the very tip of your tongue. You know that guy, he was in that movie, and he then he was in this other movie, and so close, but you can't remember their name, but you can remember their roles. He played Toby. He was, yeah, right. You don't remember his name, but you remember his impact. You remember the fact that he drove the story forward. This is a huge deal, and it is a generous deal. To be able to say, my job is not to be the one above the title in this story. Bear in mind that you are the central character in your own story, but the fact that you are willing to play a secondary, a supporting, an affirming role in someone's life is such a big deal. And that you don't have to take selfies with them, right? You don't have to go, here I am supporting you. That's not support, that's self-aggrandizement. So I have heard a lot about the Magnificat. One of my good friends, who also happens to be my pastor, preached on the Magnificat just this weekend, and she said something that was so important that we're going to talk about later. But one of the things she talked about was the idea that Mary knew more than she knew, and she left Elizabeth's house changed. I want to think about this house. I want to kind of bring it almost into present day. I want you to think about Adele, the singer, Adele, as Elizabeth. And I want you to think of Lizzo as Mary. Yeah, you heard me. Adele as Elizabeth, Lizzo as Mary. Hard to think about it that way. Is it hard to consider these characters? I hope you can, because I want to make some observations about that I hope is going to be helpful. One of the good things about Adele, much like some other singers, is that she does good work, but she does not forget those who came before her. That's a big deal. And she doesn't have a problem championing when it was the year of Adele. She made sure that it's like, yeah, I won, but what about all these other people? She amplified, she lifted up. And in some cases, she pivoted and leveraged the power and the influence that she had gained. And so I think of her in her house, seeing Lizzo come up, whether it be in a small town in the Middle East, or whether it be in some fancy house in Bel Air or Brentwood. Yeah, she saw her flinging out, and she's running down the driveway. Blessed are you among women! And Mary, hearing that, said, I know! There are a couple of ways of saying I know. There are some ways where you can put a lot of stank on it. Blessed are you among women. I know. But no, that is not what I think Mary / Lizzo said to Elizabeth / Adele. It was, I know. It really is a big deal. Adele made room. Kind of what we talked about in the last video. Adele made room in her heart, in her spirit, in her house. When and how did you know? And did you dismiss those? Have you dismissed those whose place in your life is to amplify and support the calling and the vision and the conviction that you have? Those are scary people. Those can be very scary people. You don't get any quarter with those people, am I right? But it's important. It's important not to poo-poo other people's visions of you, other people's fictive imaginations of you, which is a gift. They're gifts. Each and every one of them are gifts. I have a picture of you in my head that's bigger than you may think. Or I have a picture of you, a vision that is every bit as grand, every bit as influential, every bit as impactful as the vision you've been trying to backburner for the last 3 months or 3 years or even 3 decades. I see it, I partner with it, and I will not let you shy from it. That is a gift. So when did you know? When did you know? If you're here with me at Lace on Race, at the very least, there has to be a stirring. And if you've been with me for any length of time, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, then you know that there is something that has compelled you to stick around. Even when it's been hard, even when I'm not doing anything she asks, but you're still here. I still have your eyeballs. Would it help? Would it help if you had someone running down the driveway, arms outstretched? Blessed are you among women. And then you say, as you metaphorically take the pot that you've been gestating from the back burner to the front burner, and you look and it's nourishing and it's ready to roll, and you say, I know. In this year, that's been no question difficult for me, just like Mary's life was difficult for her as she made that journey from her homeland to her cousin. There have been people along the way who did exactly what my mentor and champion did almost 3 decades ago, metaphorically and sometimes literally, holding my face in their hands and saying, you were meant for this. You may not see how this is going to play out, but I've got a glimpse that I am going to partner with you. And when you forget, I'm going to remind you, oh, wow. And every single time, and there have been more than one time when I've said, I'm really not sure. I'm not sure. Did I really hear what I thought I heard almost 4 years ago, that I was meant to do this? Can I stop now? Can I just rest because it's been so hard and I'm so tired? And then someone says, literally or metaphorically, blessed are you among women. And then I sing the Magnificat, the Manifesto. The Manifesto. I've come to lay the high low. This is a paraphrase, work with me. I've come to bring the high low. I have come to lift the poor up. I've come to bring good news to the poor. I have come to change the world. The world will be upside down because of what's gestating in me and what I'm bringing forth. I cannot do less. That is the scariest thing ever. That the world will be changed because of me. That sounds so grandiose, so arrogant. But I'm going to invite you to think the same thing. The world should be a different place because you're in it, because of what you're gestating and from what you're birthing. And if it is not, that's on you. You need to check your back burner because something is simmering that needs to come to boil. Rebecca Littlejohn reminded me of something that I had almost forgotten. I've read the Magnificat more than once, but this did not occur to me until Sunday when Rebecca talked about it, and that is the 3 months, more or less, that Mary, Lizzo, spent with Elizabeth, Adele. By the time she was ready to go, she was showing. She was showing. I mean, let's face it, let's tell the truth. She went to Elizabeth's to hide. To do what our parents or grandparents used to do. They'd go away to boarding school for 6 months and then they'd come back with a flat belly and maybe a brand new younger sister. But Mary was walking back full-bellied, head high, eye to eye, no grandiosity and no shame, because she knew that no matter what the detractors said, no matter what they said to her about her at the well, they knew that whether or not the other women would turn their backs on her, that she had a job to do and she was going to do it. And when it got really hard, she could remember Elizabeth. She could remember Elizabeth. So who's your Elizabeth? Who is the person who lifts you up no matter what? Who is the person that says, blessed are you? Not condemned are you? Not disingenuous are you? Not performative are you? Not artless are you? Not stumbling are you? Blessed are you. Blessed are you. And when you start wondering whether or not you're blessed, you kind of look over there and they're like going, I mean, I can only take this metaphor so far, even though we're dealing in myth and story. There were no iPads and smartphones back in the day. It's not as though Mary could FaceTime Elizabeth like Lizzo could with Adele. And Adele would be going, you got this. You got this. Nope, nope, nope. You got this. Blessed are you among women. She had to hold Elizabeth in her heart. That's amazing. Making space, making room for the people who are with you the entire way and will not let you fall. If you do not have an Elizabeth in your life, if you wonder what that sort of relentless reliability and Hesed love looks like, look no further than here. You need an Elizabeth? I'll be your Elizabeth. Or the delinquents on my staff and leadership team, or the delinquents in training and chef's table. And if you want to learn that level of community, if you want to be able to not only be affirmed that blessed are you, but also be able to sing that song to others, stick around. This is a big deal. Call does not happen in a solitary fashion. People like to tell you that it does, that there's the iconoclast, the lone wolf who alone is correct. But no, most people who have changed the world have changed it with an army of people behind them, cheering them on. Blessed are you. There is a boldness that Elizabeth gave to Mary that allowed her to be brave, that allowed her to out herself as she made her way back to her hometown with a full belly. Not hiding anymore. Yep, this is it. This is my reality. This is who I am. And I don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but I'm saying yes first. Outing yourself is crucial. We don't do that nearly enough, do we? We don't. We don't. Even when we know, we try to keep it on the down low. Yes, I have a call. Yes, I have a conviction. And then you try to make it so that you don't have to poke your head out too much. Or if you do, you make sure you get the selfie. What if no one ever knows your name? What if no one ever connects you to the influence, to the changed world? There's something that was said to me ages ago, and I think I've mentioned it recently, that you can do amazing things when you don't care who gets the credit. Adele doesn't care that Lizzo gets the credit. And by the way, just for the record, I used these two women on purpose, and I made sure that Lizzo was Mary and that Adele was Elizabeth, because usually Black women are the supporting players. Am I right? We're the ones that are the sassy best friend in the Paramount movie. And the white woman gets the praise and the approbation and the remembrance. We're flipping this. We're flipping this. White women, what does it look like when you stand up and support and exhort and hold well? That's what we're going to learn how to do in 2022. And we need to learn this because almost 10,000 white women didn't hold me well, which means they're not holding other black women well. I'm the proxy. Blessed are you among women. And I will do what I can, but I will. I'll do it all. I'll do as much as you need. And I will say yes first. Let's go back to Adele and Lizzo. When Lizzo was about ready to go back to her hometown, when Mary was about ready to go back to her hometown, you better believe she didn't go empty-handed. You better believe that Adele emptied her larder. You better believe that Adele made sure Lizzo had the 2021 equivalent of the absolute best donkey she had. Take the Tesla. Take the Tesla. Go home. Stand up. You are called. There is a boldness in the eye to eye. You will notice that Elizabeth was looking Mary in the eye. It was not this, you will do this. It was not this, I revere you. It was this. You got a job to do and I'm here to help you do it. Eye to eye. Assurance, not arrogance. Graciousness and generosity instead of grandiosity. Are you with me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? And this anticipation. Regardless of the story or the myth, regardless if it was 2,000 years ago or last week in Brentwood or Beverly Hills, where Lizzo and Adele are eating $30 pasta, it is important to remember. It is so important to remember that even if you don't know the end of the story, that you know that you have something good to contribute to the story, and you do not have to know the final chapter in order to do your part. Mary had no idea. In the Christmas myth, Mary had no idea what was coming. And even after she birthed Jesus, let's not forget, his public ministry didn't start until he was 3 decades old and only lasted 3 years. But she knew something was going to happen. Did she know when he was first suckling her? Did she know when he was at the temple? Did she know when he put down his carpenter's tools? She didn't know. She didn't know exactly the how. She didn't know exactly the when. But she knew she was here for it. And when she felt confused or ambivalent, she could close her eyes and remember Elizabeth. Blessed are you. Blessed are you. Blessed are you among women. So let's recap. No hiding. Out yourself. As someone who cares deeply about racial justice and feels a strong call towards it. Remember the winning strategies and also remember giving all you can in affirmation, in time, in your noggin, in your heart, in your wallet. When Adele made sure that Lizzo had food for the journey, that was sacrificial. She didn't give her a broken down 20-year-old Toyota Tercel. She gave her the Tesla that she bought last week. Blessed are you among women. She cleared out her larder. I can imagine that she clothed Lizzo in her finest. 2,000 years ago, it might have been the finest silk. Nowadays, it's like every single thing that Good American makes. Every single Valentino bag. Made sure that she had a full amount of all the good perfume. Go home, head high. Take heart. Stand up. God is calling you. And if you ever have any question about that, you just look to me and look at this face full of resolve, never wavering. You give more, and then you give more. You give more than what's expected. You give more than what is asked. We are going to be doing the Dimes and Envelopes Challenge. We will be making sure that we are keeping our commitment to community partners throughout 2022. And we are going to continue to exhort you to support Lace on Race. Why? Because I have a call. A call that was affirmed 30-something years ago, a call that was affirmed 4 years ago, a call that was affirmed even today. Even today. The Sonis family, who were outed by Holly in February as the people who gave us the endowment, are doing another installment. It's part of the promise that they made to us that they have been incredibly faithful about keeping and that people have punished us for. Because, see, here's the thing about the Lizzo piece, the black woman piece of this. We're punished when good things happen to us. People say they want good things, but let someone do well. Whew. And not even well personally. Doing well for long game. We have cut into our endowment portion for 2022. We didn't want to, but we have not met goal one single month in 2021. I suggested that the center withhold my salary until we can begin to make goal. The delinquents on my board shot that down fast. I need you all to be Elizabeth towards me. I'm not comparing myself to Mary, Mother of Jesus, but I am saying that I do have a call. And I am saying that if I have your eyeballs, I want you to consider opening your purse strings again. And if you haven't done it for the first time, I'm asking you to do it today. Every single penny that's taken from the principal of the endowment is a scholarship that won't happen, is a fellowship that won't happen, is a sabbatical for a writer or a thinker or an artist that will not happen. I believe in the model. I believe in trusting the community to hold us well. Blessed are you among women. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the miracle that happened behind the dumpster in the 7-Eleven on University Avenue. The last line of that spoken word that I wrote a couple years ago was, nothing changed, but everything changed. It's the same here at Lace on Race. Nothing has changed. I'm going to be here. But the wigs will change. The wigs will change. Lipstick will change. But my heart and my hesed will never change. But everything did change this year. I've had to reevaluate my relationship with all of you. I need to stop being afraid of you, which means I need to keep asking you. Take heart, get up. Show up. Show up for the people you say you stand for and with. Show up for the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity. Stand up for yourselves and the person that you say you want to be. I am losing power. That's something that Mary probably didn't say 2,000 years ago. But Lizzo might. I mean, even iPhones go down to 0, right? I love you hard. Blessed are you. But that blessing demands accountability and responsibility. I will give you no less. And I lovingly ask the same of you.